Okay, we're live. Nice. Hello everyone. Welcome to this Realtech Masterclass. We're just going to wait a couple of minutes if we have more people joining. And you can say hello in the chat in the meantime if you want. Okay, let's start slowly. First, welcome here, and so I'm Katia. I'm the Events and Content Manager at Eversense, and I will be your host for today. Before we dive into the subjects, I wanted to present to you the Livestorm platform that we're on currently, so you know how it works and what you can do with it. So as you can see on the right side of your screen, you have the chat on which you already are because you're saying hello, which is nice. And you have a couple of options on the bar below. The first one is a tab where you can see the polls that we're going to send out during the webinar to which you can answer. You have a tab right next to it that is made for questions. So you can ask your questions there if you have some. We will be taking them at the end of the webinar. And if someone asks a question that you find interesting, you can upvote this question and it will be taken in priority if it has multiple upvotes. And lastly, you have the chat at the very right, but you already know that one. Okay, let's get into it. So we're going to present by presenting our host of the day. So you have myself, but more importantly, you have Jean-Marie who is with us. Jean-Marie, welcome. Thank you for being here. Can you maybe say a few words about yourself to the audience? Present yourself so they know who you are.
Yes, of course, Katia. So good morning, and very nice to be with you today. So let's say that my career is also an exercise of regular change for more than 35 years now. First in operation logistics and supply chain for industry like Thales, Sanofi, General Electric. Then going through with working for a software vendor company in supply chain execution. After a consultant for IT supply chain strategy and enterprise integration. And finally, as a CIO for industry, 3PL, legal, and also a very interesting period of time as a CIO for SNCF Freight.
Nice, okay. Very interesting. So a lot of experience and very good for the subject of today.
I hope.
I have no doubt. So as I was saying, so I'm Events and Content Manager at Eversense, and I will be moderating this webinar today. Just for your information, we will have 30 minutes of presentation, more or less, and then we will have 15 minutes to answer your questions that you may have for Jean-Marie. And then you will receive an email with the replay of the webinar directly in your mailbox. So you can review it, and if you're not here for the whole time, which can happen, you can see the end if you want. I also wanted to say a quick word about Eversense for those that don't know us or are new. So we are a software company which aims at digitizing rail freight operations for industrial shippers in Europe, thanks to planning, real-time tracking, and optimizing operations inside a collaborative digital platform that we call the TVMS. And if you want more information about us, you can go on our website and follow our LinkedIn, even if you're interested. It's a pretty cool LinkedIn. And lastly, before I leave the floor to Jean-Marie, I wanted to speak quickly about the RailTech community, which the RailTech Masterclass are part of. The RailTech community is a community that we're building of rail experts, and you can totally be a part of it. You will receive more info in the email that I will be sending you with the replay. And if you want, you'll be able to become a member of that community to follow what we're doing and what the other members of that community are doing, and to have access to exclusive content and events. But let's get back to the matter at hand now, which is change management. So change management, it's an inspiring subject because it mainly concerns human beings, actually. We all know that with emerging technologies such as IoT and artificial intelligence that are coming to the supply chain and the logistics industry, users were used actually to using papers and cell phones and Excel as well, are now moving to more digital platform and tools. And that's may lead to questions, maybe some fears regarding how to handle those new platforms and tools. We all know that sometimes a new tool can be quite disconcerting to discover at first. So actually, oftentimes the role of change management regarding these tools and platforms, and to ensure the adoption of two digital projects are overseen by supply chain leaders. So Jean-Marie, maybe you can tell us more about it now?
Yes, of course. So I think that we may agree that impermanence is our way of work now. So this is maybe due to the fact of fast evolution of technology, and change adaptations have become the rules that we have to deal with. So managing change is a strategic component for the success and for efficiency of the company. We have many topics to share, but we will speak about B2B and not B2C, because B2C is very different. It's an issue of user adoptions regarding change. So adoption require excellence, ergonomy, and mass marketing. And it's a matter of user choice. Unlike B2B, where the solution is generally imposed. So that's our challenge to how make that change adopted. So B2B change management is needed for supporting the new process of implementation to fulfill the strategic and tactical promise made by the general management. We also concentrating about the field of supply chain execution. Supply chain execution is interesting because which has very special features comparing. For example, activities in supply chain execution are both administrative and operational in the shop floor. So we are not only in the office with administrative users, and which is not generally easier to deploy, of course, to link shop floor and administrative link together regarding the flow of the goods. The digital operation is not new and has been a reality since the 19th in factories, warehouse, transportation, maybe less in rail transport, but it's very well known by, in fact, supply chain manager. And a third important point is that supply chain process optimization is not only within our organizations, which refer to a large panel of many partners interconnected to contribute for end user satisfaction. So, which is another point important for change management handling. So efficient change management supports organization to adapt to new market conditions, improve performance, reduce cost, and increase customer satisfactions. Just that to do. However, it requires careful preparation and execution to ensure that change are implemented smoothly without disruption of the supply chain, obviously. We will see the step on that because this process involves first to identify the need for change, define change, giving sense and giving motivation to all the contributors. We have to develop a plan for the change. We will see how. We will to have a clear and nice communication for justification of the change for the stakeholder, but not only with employees and all the ecosystem. And for example, also for marketing and to make some evaluation of the image of the company, which is also a good value. And of course, we have to manage the resistance to the change. So.
Okay, so I guess that's the right moment to underline that change management is actually only now a hot topic for companies. Like 25 years ago, let's say that the discussion actually wasn't about change management. It was more focused on technical IT issues and interconnections between IT solutions and the supply chain partners. The fact that we speak about this now, that you guys are here actually to listen to this Waging Masterclass, it really demonstrates this important change in awareness and maturity that, and even actually the posture of management regarding this, and the fact that it has become increasingly complex over time. Speaking of which, have you guys in the audience seen any evolution in the budget allocation to change management in your organization over time, and also for your own projects? You can let us know in the survey tab. You have this question that just popped up, and you can answer. And we're looking forward to seeing what you can say about your own experience in this subject. In the meantime, Jean-Marie, what have we learned actually since these last 20 years?
I think we learned that the changes are real food topics for the success of the transformation, and we have to consider a plan with several change management responsibility layers. That means that first we have to address the strategy with the shareholder and senior management. Then we have to deal with the tactical about middle management, which is really important. We see that, but also customers, supplier, and partners. And finally, we have to organize the operation plan with the users. So each of the strat requires special attention with different methods, and the process really has to start very early in the transformation program to be sure that we, for example, have the budget that we need for and a good experience also join the team. So for the strategy part, this topic should highly consider before the starting of the project. And from the early beginning to the business case, we have to share the risk analysis regarding that point. For example, in terms of risk management, I think all of us around the webinar, which already have to define the project, we also always see every project scope of work, every risk analysis systematically calls for involvement of senior management. But at the end, for this recommendation, we really need to be considered with more explanation, really depending on your context. Do we really understand a plan to secure all the effort and investment required to ensure the transformation? The real question is, will we have maturity, expertise, and budget to limit our risk? For example, if you want to estimate the real amount of time and attention for the executive sponsor that will devote to the project, it is useful to know the ranking of our project in the hierarchy of the company's portfolio for transformation plan. And most also the priority of your CIO agenda of all objectives, which is not really always easy to really perceive, but it's a really point of interest to see the disponibility of these key actors. And there is a way to engage the management and to get that more involved. It's to get really involve them in the kickoff. In the kickoff, it's very useful, first for sharing concrete action plan, but mostly to obtain a formal public commitment from all the project stakeholders and senior management. It will also help to secure arbitration decision during the steering committee along the project life, always keeping the issue in mind. Then we have to consider also the culture. The culture is the first key to understanding to secure the plan. And the build depend on domain, organization, hierarchical structure, management approach. The way of communication, is it formal, very political, maybe secret, innovative, open to risk? Of course, it really depends of the way, the structure of the organization you are working with. If you're working in administration, in industry, in association, in startup, it's truly tremendously different approach. You have to consider also the strengths of the trade union, because it must be considered and carefully anticipated. And the value of time due to the competition of the legal deadline to understand the rhythm of the change. We also have to take care about the company economical situation, which is really critical for the approach of the quality of change management services. Do we have to respect strictly the initial budget commitment we had, or could we build progressively? Do we are leader? Are we follower? Do we have a growing margin? Are we at risk? Are we in a turnaround situation, or LBO, or merge, or startup, which impact, of course, a lot of the investment. If we are not leader, we're probably forced to be a good follower due to a technical evolution or legal market globalization that we think would be a result of the supply chain partner today. We still work with facts, for example. So that maybe we have to keep in mind that the success of this exercise is mostly difficult for the middle management. Because middle management, they will live a really deep change. So first, we must adapt to manage their own change, and then able to support the team. And what I notice is we used to focus on end user and often miss that point of middle management change. To secure investment and communication of investment, we also have to identify the management awareness of this challenge of transformation, which is not really always easy from the headquarters to the ground floor, of course. Also, the gap level of vision and understanding and capability between general management and employee. Do we have a risk on market competition? legal evolution to impose that change at a specific date? And are we aware of the middle management speed of adaptation, transmission ability, and maturity? For example, with the rail freight industry, the change makes sense for a railway company, for example, because there is a risk of commercial intermediation by the new digital player and international competitions. That means a really deep change of rhythm and to react and anticipate. But the situation of the rail freight is not yet all digital. With an organized population that is used to work and the preparation, they are working with paper, they are often anxious about change, and this paradigm requires especially for attention in the preparation and management stage of change. The context of security can weigh heavily in innovation process also. For example, in past initiative, we implemented digital connecting glass to replace paper for the train at the shunting yard, but that initiative was stopped because of security issue. The culture of the rail transport company in France is based on the engineer technique and a consensus between management and unions. So generally it takes a long time and very thinking about what if, what are the exceptions, what are the risks. It's really not like one process project like we could do in the US, for example. So that's typically a French way of work. 80% spend time on what if. And in SNCF, time scale and budget were offer height and scalable, taking account the large number of participants involved in each project and interconnection between department and information system, which is a deep point for change management issue.
It's interesting to see how the culture of the company actually is truly pivotal here, if I may. And it's even the first item kind of that you're speaking of right now. And indeed, it might be easily overlooked. You can just say higher management must be involved, and that's it, without like going deeper into what it implies and what should be taken into account and which actions should be taken. So in the end, it all falls down to how such initiatives are considered and are taken care of in your company or in the company in general. You've stated that the need to identify management's awareness of the challenges of transformation, the gap in vision and understanding between management and employees, and also the middle management level of maturity to change and their ability to adapt. Knowing all of that, in the end, it does come down to just good communication, or at the very least, good communication, right, Jean-Marie?
Yes. The way the company communicate to support transformation plan is really important. And also the credibility. Are their plan or is it a routine every 2 or 3 years with change of general management? What in this case, what credibility does employee have about that change when it's too systematic and almost when each plan announces the herald the big night, you know? So how does the general management communicate? It remember me a very nice experience. It was a major industry company in Italy, which during its New Year greeting, the CEO announced the implementation of mobile digital device in the factories and distribution sites at the beginning of the meeting. Then He concluded the meeting with an announcement of a redundancy plan that year. What's taken in people's mind? Technology equal job cost. Under this condition, the project was a disaster. We had a big budget, but we had sabotage on go live. And for example, mobile terminals were immersed in a bucket of water to render them inoperable. So that's a nice lesson learned.
So we do agree that communication is essential, and good communication with the right message that comes across the stakeholders to avoid this kind of situation that you just described. And at the same time, it's also an issue of commitment, which you already mentioned. Once you've announced something, then you kind of have to stick to it and to deliver. Speaking of like communicating about change, you guys in the audience, do you feel like change is well communicated in your company? You can go to the survey time once again and answer directly to the one that just popped up, so we know how it goes on your side. So Jean-Marie, we mentioned the company culture earlier, and so you spoke of three strata to consider: top management, middle management, and users. So we talked about top management already. What about middle management? What are the challenges? What do they face in times of change?
As I told you, middle management for me is a key point because naturally we all thought that our team, our people were clever and experienced enough. So they just do fine. They will manage by themselves. Why do we have to invest so much with extra cost on the part of that transformation? That's the way of the general management. From the year 2K, we observed that the financial results expected from ERP implementation were not reached. Then studies showed that the reason was due to minimized design and change management effort. Budget was too often the main reason for failure, lack of budget, of course. And furthermore, the system were not also not even as user-friendly as expected, so we miss all. Although change management is a common approach, very common sense approach. It remains one of the two main reasons for project failure about time, budget, content, initial commitment. As we know, project customer responsibility are business requirement definition, solution selection, solution definition, solution acceptance, and change management. We really do not recommend to fully subcontracting this topic. Otherwise, the risk of rejection at go live become higher, and at go live it's really, really late. So first we have the one-size-fits-all concept. We learned that we finally cannot design a global standard system and then roll out suddenly to the subsidiaries. This did not work and caused serious financial crises in some company. It's done, overstocking, loss of financial condition, under invoicing, increasing personnel cost. I live personally this incomprehensible critical situation in an American company, and that was the origin of my decision to better understand IT side to have better supply chain transformation abilities. Since then, we also have learned to take account local culture, legal constraints, and commercial practice by defining a core model and adopting the design and change management anticipation in each country. We also, a really important point, is to build a serious plan, progressive deployment with careful selection of pilot sites and taking account formal user feedback of experience of each go live to improve the next deployment. So another point that we really learn is involving key user rights from the right key user from the design file early in the process. We learned that a team of engineers grouping in a meeting room for head office, from the head office, probably too far from the ground to define the future system will not be a good way of reach efficiency and speed for the change. This top-down approach did not allow to anticipate the difficulty involved in putting the system into services. Team management and key users who were not involved in the design process did not feel that they had responsibility in the success of the project go live. This created a bottleneck in the queue of resolving anomaly at the knowledge desk. Users felt that the system had been really designed elsewhere, and without their input, they are not implied in the results. As a result, productivity was severely degraded, and the logistics system became a really nightmare. Another key user error is not to dedicate the same team for the key user from the beginning to the end of the project. In that situation, we usually admit that the solution design will be revisiting during the acceptance, or maybe worst, at the go live. So for people adhesion point, you need also to identify the field of force of relation, how to make the indices adhere to the project. The indices could be sometimes a good tip is by tuning the clever opponent to the project. You know that creative troublemaker often have good idea we have to take account. So talk about general interest and common sense about more than particular interest. Change process justification for more efficiency, delivery and profitability or reputation for the company. And use the new service offered to customer or partner or requirement to your advantage.
Maybe you have a quick example on this adhesion that you're speaking about, because it seems like important to highlight that.
Yes. SNCF, so French Railway digital transformation case was really interesting about change, the way to handle it. Because information technology at SNCF was considered as a dinosaur. Each project took years or decades sometimes to compete. The image of the market was poor. For example, a passenger with their mobile application, more fresh information than controller about the train delays. Controller only have a schedule book, paper, very heavy to carry, not easy to work for them. But the biggest threat was about commercial intermediation. SNCF strategy defined to create a digital organization, agile, and well-positioned in the organization chart. The digital director was a member of the board of directors and highly supported by the chairman. After peer identification for transformation plan, it was obvious that to succeed will require human resource for all departments of the company, even in IT department. The strategy adopted was about corporate, team, and personal valorization. The digital director was also communication director, so he could easily announce nice short-term news of transformation to the press, to the market, and as an effective variable relay, in fact. Then he organized internal communication and asked for volunteers to participate to this adventure of valuable transformation. He creates specific events and study tour with digital leaders. The result was great, global and individual adhesion for a lot of project contributors in every department. The build of consistent transformation project with concrete achievement every 6 months and in progress communicate could be communicated to the market. when we received spontaneous proposal for innovation ID from volunteer employee.
So that was a success, right?
Yes, but partially. to say the truth, because a step of change management was missed. After having first time having delivered the first nice, friendly, small apps, we met really strong difficulty with the back office integration because of lack of integration and consideration about the management of the legacy system integration. And that require to bring need data and transactions. So that was a point we learned for the second step.
Okay, well, half success then. So if I recap what you just said, there are two important things to remember. Don't assume that change will happen smoothly between your team without any proper change management, because it won't, or it's very unlikely. And more importantly, truly involve your team managers and your key users right from the design process, so they feel involved in the success of the project. That leads me to one last question for audience. During the moment of change that happened in your company, have you felt that dichotomy that might have existed between your own expectations as a member of the team and the one coming from the top management? If such situation ever happened, you can let us know in the survey tab. Once again, it's the last time asking, I promise. Back to you, Jean-Marie. So maybe now we can speak about the project in itself.
Yes. Regarding project, a true agile method, which means regular meeting between end user, designer, and developer, is also very useful for functional reinforcement by the user themselves and keep focus on the target of the transformation with add value. We use it when we were designing the railway software solution for SNCF Freight with great satisfaction, because any functional request in specification that were not sufficient explained in terms of practice or add value were postponed to phase 2 by user themselves. Then the live deployment were planned with specific expert team to support user on each site. That's give a very good testimonial at the end of the project for this approach at the end by the user themselves.
Okay, then that's actually a pretty good transition to talk about users now, which are the last strata that you mentioned. How do you ensure adoption at this level, despite all the questions and maybe the fears that were already mentioned?
What do we live about onboarding and motivation? As we know, a digital project can be very scary when you've been doing your job from the same way for years. So you really need to create a communication approach that enhance and reassure throughout the life of the project secure from the very beginning. For example, you can highlight operational champion and opinion leaders like influencer. You can define incentive for the people involved throughout the project, and facilitator during the go live, which is very important point. You can install, for example, digital demo kiosk of mobile device at the point of passage, like canteen exit, to reassure before the implementation. You can publish regular news on project process and achievement, and with individual and team underline, and distributed nice goodies as appropriation. So, and regarding the training, which is we learn many things about training with the time also. First, we recommend to organize training at a mobile workstation for simple users to combine use of the information system with operational gesture to use the equipment with the system. You also can produce a summary task sheet at each workstation with support contact in the event of difficulty for go live. You need to really check training acquisition by means of practical case with solution or multiple choice test, for example. You issue a trainee certificate to reassure and reward the population with normally few qualification. It's valuable also. And you can also involve user and whole team in an online community to give them a sense of belonging. So that's some tips we use for the way of success.
That's some nice, good, concrete tips that we like. So if I can make a small summary of everything that you just shared with us, I think the main thing is that change management, it's not just a fancy term, actually, it's the backbone of business survival. As we brace ourselves for the AI revolution and all the rapid tech changes that are happening, there is still one thing that remains crystal clear that we could see through your whole presentation was that it's about the people. It's always been about the people, and it will always be about the people. It's whether it's setting the strategic course or getting ready for tactical shifts or ensuring frontline teams, ensuring that frontline teams, are actually on board, and basically that every level of management plays a crucial role in this change management. And yeah, it's not just enough to talk about change. You actually got to make it happen. And that means working with anticipation, involving everyone from the ground up, and ensuring that teams are fully equipped and on board. And so your project would be sure to be a success. So that's the end of the presentation. We can take some time for a few questions. We went a bit over time, but if we have one question, maybe we can take it now, or else you will have access to our contacts if something pops up later and you want to ask us directly. Do I see anything in the chat? Let me have a look. Questions. So yeah, we can take one question. So Jean-Marie, in your experience, obviously, does this need for change management that we see on the rise, does it mainly come from the top management or actually from the operational teams directly?
So the need is definitely for the users, but the action, the initiative has to be done by the general management as a caution and motivation and knowledge of all the effort with recognition. And the key point is middle management, because they have to change for operation way like commando towards an anticipation way, which is less valuable for the job at the end. And really important of the key of success, because if they miss that understanding, they will not reach the change.
Okay, I think that's some good words to end it here. Thank you for your time. Thank you for answering. Thank you everyone that was here for the live. As I said, you have our contacts. I forgot to add your email, Jean-Marie, but I will be adding it soon. That happens. Yeah, thank you everyone for being here. We have hopefully another RailTech Masterclass next month, and we try to do that regularly, so you can tune in, and you can follow Eversense on the LinkedIn and on our website. You can have a look, and yeah, we are free, everyone, and thank you once again for being here, and Jean-Marie for sharing your knowledge with everyone. This was highly interesting. And I'm sure that people enjoyed listening to you. Thank you, everyone. Have a very nice day.
Bye.